welcome y'all. You know what I'm saying? Back in
Episode 4.
Yeah, we're back blacker and better than ever before. You know what I'm saying? Moke ring us in and then we could get to the shenanigans.
I don't know about blacker. I mean, the winter time is coming. This is the light skin season for for some of us.
Oh god.
But
Oh no.
let me stop playing.
Yo.
Welcome y'all. Welcome back to the newest episode of the SBC podcast, episode
yes.
4. With your hosts Jacob and Jumoke, and we're back. We are back another week.
Yeah, we're back, and I would just personally like to say that democracy is finally returned. Civility is back. Fascism is dead, and neocolonialism, it's taking a hit. It's over. It's over.
You see how he don't even wait, you know what I'm saying? He don't even let y'all ease into it.
No, because the world doesn't let us ease into shit. I literally said, like maybe a week or two before he won, that if he won, that's exactly what was going to happen. And I kid you not. That's literally what happened, bro.
I'll say this, right? Because I had a moment. I had a moment when I was walking back from the park, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd heard the news in the park, and people started cheering and dancing, and it was like a very festive, celebratory moment.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking past the library outside into the main street, and I hear somebody playing "Fuck Donald Trump," the YG and Nipsey song.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, I could get with this, like that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I feel the energy starting to rise. I'm getting excited. I'm
Of
like,
course.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Not so much because I'm happy that Biden won, but I am happy that Trump lost and Trump is upset. And so
It is the first time we're hearing that song, and that nigga is actually getting the fuck out of here.
and it's it was a beautiful moment. And so as that's playing, you just hear it's Nipsey on the hook. It's like, fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, nigga, fuck Donald Trump. You hear the boom going.
Mm-hmm.
And then some white dude just walks by and is like, God bless America. We have our freedom back.
Yeah,
God bless America.
Fuck yeah,
And
bro.
I was like, wow, the cognitive dissonance
Yeah,
in
bro.
this country is so wild. Like, the narrative really flipped immediately. And so it is a bit concerning for those of us who are thinking about and centering Black liberation in our politics. How quickly the discourse is shifting. And then you have people like Eva Longoria. I think it was Eva Longoria.
Yeah, messy,
talking about how, it's not really Black women who came out in large numbers to vote. It was like Latinas are the real heroes. We could get into a whole critique of Latinidad another day, but
we should also have a guest for that.
The narrative shifts already, and then this weird praise, or not. I wouldn't say weird praise, but this weird reverence. Oh, thank you for saving us. Thank you, Black people. Thank you, Black women, for saving us.
Mm-hmm.
And I read a tweet or a Instagram post, I think, yesterday, that was like, let's put this into context with the Breonna Taylor case.
Yep.
Breonna Taylor being murdered, justice being denied to her family, right? Daniel Cameron not even giving a grand jury the option.
Yeah, I saw he said some wild shit.
Sorry to cut you off.
No. Yeah, I was just gonna say I saw he said some wild shit. I think he was confirmed as a Trump supporter or something.
Yeah, he said some wild shit, but he didn't even give the grand jury the option to prosecute these people for murder, and then the same country being like, "Oh, Black women, save us!" And it's nauseating. It really is nauseating. So, I hope that this next 4 years gives us more time at a grassroots and local level to organize, to look at some of our
Facts.
our mayors and people on like city councils and representatives, and get some folks out of office so we can really, build popular movements from the ground up. But
yeah, and judges too. Don't forget those are the niggas calling the cases, bro. Like a lot of I would make the argument that a lot of shit starts with like who is a judge, especially since we've always known that those positions are politicized, but now the fact that like niggas basically just feel emboldened to say that they support Trump and be like, or say that they're pro-life or whatever, but then in the same breath try to say that they're going to look at cases in an unbiased way, and that just doesn't work. If you're quote unquote pro life, you're not, we already know what you're going to say for each case. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
And nothing is unbiased. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're human beings. Yeah. This idea that once you elevate someone into a specific career or a specific field, that they somehow have gained the tools, especially through Western Eurocentric educational structures, that has given them the tools to be these objective forces of equity and righteousness. I don't see that.
Yeah, I don't see that. I do think though that people shouldn't be elected to the Supreme Court who are fucking mediocre. The past two people who have been elected are ultimately the most mediocre. But also I think it should be the kind of thing of like, if you're looking at somebody's track record, like, even though I would love to see that governing body either not exist or not have life terms, though to me those avenues of abolition seem far-fetched in our current system. So if I'm going with, the kind of lesser of two evils approach or whatever, it should be the kind of thing, at the very, very least, we're looking at their track record. They're not leaning too much either way kind of thing. It should at least feel like this person is giving you a quote unquote fair fight. Instead of what we have right now, where if I were to go before them, I'd be like, damn, well, I already know 6 of y'all openly don't like my black ass, so what the fuck am I gonna say? Like, there's no guessing about it.
Yeah, the idea of lifetime judges, like judges who are appointed to a position for the rest of their life in a democracy, does not make sense to me.
Nah,
like
very oligarchical. It's just
somebody make that make sense to me. Like,
it's just oligarchy at that point. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, and when you bring up shit like that, where it's just common sense, people, you see the mental gymnastics, you see the mental trampoline come out, and you're already just like, oh, here we go. Like, but this is the way it's always been and done it. And it's just like, no, bro.
People love saying that. I don't understand what attachment. Well, I don't know. Maybe I do understand it in the sense that, like, so much of the national identity of the United States seems to be built on this nostalgia and this freedom rhetoric that goes back to the American Revolution, and this idea that we overthrew tyranny on this new continent as explorers on the frontier, the best of human civilization and spirit, like all that bullshit. Like, I get why you have to look back to reify that myth, and also it is a myth. And I am looking forward to the day where the national rhetoric shifts from the mythologies around the American exceptionalism towards a real understanding.
I'm sorry, that's anti-American.
Right? But hey, shit, maybe it is. but towards a real understanding of what our national history and legacy is. So we'll see. That day will come, hopefully.
Hopefully during our lifetime, I would like that.
And there are people, to be clear, there are people who are already having those conversations.
Of course.
And doing a lot of work around that. So
it
doesn't always have to be on a national level for it to be valid.
Yeah, I just think this is the first time in my adult life where, I've gotten to clearly see on a national level the normalization of overt white supremacy. So I think that's just why shit feels different right now. Just because, we've known this shit has existed for years now, but it is definitely different when you have a president who outright is just saying inflammatory things. It doesn't necessarily mean that white supremacy is moving any differently at all. It just means that, like, well, damn, y'all got, like, the biggest soapbox right now. And, that's really the only difference. Is it's just like, well, y'all are going to be played on every news station around the world, and y'all just don't have to fight for anything to get your little space. And you already didn't have to fight for anything because your whole existence and worldview is normalized. So,
talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it, brother Jacob.
No, I just feel like that to me is the difference. Just because, I feel as if Biden and Kamala winning, shout outs because history is made with her winning, but it also, for me, raises this fear of now it seems like, and I hate to say it, but I've been saying that it was finna be this shit for a few weeks now. The narrative is starting to become something of, well, we have to, of course, Biden has to be a president for all Americans, but you can't just let these niggas off the hook, bro. They gotta do something, bro. Like, you can't just be out here saying stop the count. No, all this shit is fake. Yo, Rona's not real. I'm not wearing a mask. 1619 is a myth. Like, you can't be out here saying this shit and there not be any repercussions, bro. Call me crazy, but you can't do that, bro.
The precedent has already been set, though. I mean, with the Civil War in this country, you had people make a confederacy of different states that rose up against the United States, said, fuck y'all, we are our own independent country.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I mean, there was still northern occupation of the South for a few years, or of the, the South, the states in the South that were part of the Confederate States of America. But for the most part, they're like, oh, this was brother against brother, and now it's all good. We're joining the Union. Y'all get pardons. You know what I'm saying? No, Jefferson Davis, the head of this rogue state that rose up in violent armed insurrection against the United States. Oh, you good? Pardon. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All these Confederate generals, pardon. So it's like, the state is never going to hold itself accountable.
That's also what worries me about people talking about Trump and his whole criminal cases that are going to come up. I've seen a lot about, well, he won't be president anymore, so he won't have extra protection, da 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 da. And I'm like, I just don't see a U.S. president, whether former or sit-in, having their reputation tarnished like that until they pass. It's the kind of thing of, when we used to go to the barbershop and shit, and you would hear like, yo, Reagan introduced crack into the hood or whatever, and niggas always be like, that's a conspiracy theory, da 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 da, and then to come and find out a few years ago that there's actual recordings of this nigga being like, oh, they got crack over there? Yeah, it ain't no problem. Yo, give a little bit more. Give a little
no
bit
problem.
More.
That ain't no problem.
Type shit. But that, people definitely knew that existed in the government for however many years, but we didn't find that shit out till, 25, 30 years later? And I feel like it's going to be a similar thing with this nigga. This nigga's going to be able to leave. He's going to be able to coast. He has been the closest person in terms of a presidency to try to incite said rogue state again. And he's just going to be able to chill. It's going to be the same shit. And, that's the unfortunate truth of it.
And that's fine. You know what I'm saying? That's their business. That is, I mean, again, it impacts us. It impacts our lives and our communities and our friends and loved ones. Yeah. And also, like, white folks, that's your guy. You. That's your guy. You know what I'm saying? Man. It's your responsibility to get him in line. That's your guy. Yeah. It's not our job to fix, reform, do anything with Trump. That's y'all guy.
I will also,
that's your burden to bear.
True. That is definitely your albatross. I feel like I'll take it a step further too and say the next 4 years, where we're at by 2024. Of course, black people of color, we gonna be doing work. We always been in the trenches, so we gonna stay in the trenches fighting for what's right. But the onus, in my mind, is on white people. Depending on what happens in 2024, the onus is on y'all. Because early exit polls are showing more of y'all voted for this nigga than last time. So I don't know what the fuck is up, but y'all got to figure that out at your virtual Turkey Day dinner tables this year. You better step up because, look, bro, it's not going anywhere. It's literally, white supremacy's not going
You might
anywhere.
Be disappointed, bro.
Yeah, no.
You might.
I just have to say,
you set yourself up for some disappointment, bro.
I'm not saying I think it's going to happen. I'm just putting it here for the record to say that this message is approved by SBC of y'all niggas got work to do, bro. Like, because when 2024 hits and if Ivanka Trump is winning, like running and it looks like she's going to win or some shit, ain't going to be no, oh my God, how did we keep hearing? We not trying to hear that shit again. That's on y'all, bro. That is on y'all.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm saying? Let's wave goodbye to whiteness. Whiteness, we talked about you for a little bit. We let you in the chat, you know what I'm saying? Carry on. Let's shift topics a little bit. Let's get into something we want to talk about today, which is really thinking about, like, blackness. You know what I'm saying? But specifically our blackness, and you know, something that we talk about a lot is how diverse blackness is, right? We're talking about people of African descent, talking about black culture. You're talking about, you know, most of the continents in the world, dozens of countries, languages, ethnicities. There's so much range within blackness. And I want to talk a little bit about that today, especially in regards to us and our family dynamics, social dynamics.
Sure.
It's a question I had for you, Jacob, because, you know, you're at an intersection of different aspects of blackness, different ethnicities within black culture.
We're gonna get into the. Are we getting into the 12% Cherokee, 7% this again? Are we adding it up again? I found out my actual total is 144%. You know what I'm saying? So I'm more than the average person. You know.
Foolish. But I'm curious. I'm curious if you can talk a little bit about your black home environments and your black social environments, and just kind of the different black cultures that you were exposed to growing up.
Sure. Yeah. I guess I'll start this off by saying, I'm 100% black as hell. I'm sure you know there was some you know, fuck shit that happened in my ancestry when. But that's how I identify. Yeah. On my mom's side, she's, you know, born and raised Brooklynite, same as me. My granny, my maternal grandma and grandfather, both from North Carolina. They claim to have ties to Geechee Gullah people, but I'll openly say, I've said on this podcast before, I'm ignorant to that culture. And you know, would like to learn more about it, but low-key, I don't think that's in there, bro. All right, that's just me. But that's about as far as I know. You know, I know my granny's grandparents are like sharecroppers. I think
do you know where?
I'd have been to. I think North Carolina. Like, I think that's where the family goes back. But that's as far as I know, because I haven't done one of those DNA tests. Because they keep your DNA unless you tell them not to. So that's why I haven't done one yet.
They got my shit.
Yeah, you can actually. There's like a Times article that talks about how you can go through the process of telling them to remove it. So I'll find that. Put the link in the description. Just because. I remember I did a project in my junior year of college where I think it was 23andMe was basically trying to get a patent to like use people's DNA and shit for genetic engineering for like babies and shit. Like they're just trying to test on people's DNA and shit. It was like real weird sci-fi shit, but like CRISPR is actually a thing. So like gene editing is it is actually a thing.
Bro, what's that movie with Ethan Hawke that we watched in Ms. V's science class?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I'm blanking on the name.
No.
Gattaca? It might have been that. Hold on. I can find it. We got
Google!
We got internet.
Google!
Gattaca.
I'm really trying to...
I think so, yeah. I think this is it.
I really don't remember what that movie was called.
Hold on.
I feel like it starts with a G. But I don't know.
This is about space and shit. Oh wait, he assumes Jerome's DNA identity. Yeah, joins the Gattaca space program with
Gattaca, right?
Yeah, Uma Thurman's in it. Yeah, you're right. Good shit. Good on you, bro. It's on. Actually, I won't say what network it is on. Y'all know what it's on, and y'all gonna sponsor us. We strong arming y'all niggas now. No plugs. No free smoke. No free smoke. Y'all know who y'all are.
But anyways, you were talking about.
Yes.
Your family.
Yeah, so that's my maternal side.
In North Carolina. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's my maternal side. As far as I know, you know, that side of the family, you know, going back was a slave. So shout outs to the ancestors. Them. I don't know when exactly that side of the family came to the Americas or how. I hope to find out one day. Outside of that. On my dad's side, he's from Guyana, you know, so big up, you know what I'm saying? Big up to all the island people, big up to all the Yachty boys, you know what I'm saying? We out here. But yeah, my dad's from he was born in Georgetown and like always grew up in and around the city. His mother, I assume, also is from Georgetown or from the country or some shit. I think his people are also country folk as well, and he was the first generation to grow up in a city, but Georgetown's the capital of Guyana, and we have the best curry goat. You know what I'm saying? I just gotta put it out there. We make the best. That is what I'll
Come
say
on
on
now,
that.
talk your shit.
Yeah, I guess I just gotta say it. And I think that also brings up an important topic that we're going to talk about later, just about like food and Black culture and everything. But in terms of my family dynamics, I'll say this: on my mom's side, her generation definitely is more progressive. My mom does diversity work professionally. That's her shit. That's her bag. That's how she gets paid. So, shout outs to them. On my dad's side, he is, the most progressive out of his siblings, which, for those that don't know about at least the stereotypes for Caribbean culture, it's just, it tends to be very conservative in some ways as it relates particularly to like LGBTQ people. So, honestly, and not only that, also like colorism and shit. So we can definitely get more into that as we talk. But yeah, those are the two sides that I'm coming from, and we could delve into the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's definitely there. How about you though? What's your background? Because you got like both your last names are Irish, or
no. So one of my last names is like Irish or Scottish. I don't know. I think let's go on the record and say Irish. I might have to double check that. But it's interesting though because it means son of the black one. McDuffie means son of the black one.
Oh, interesting.
And that is from my family who's mostly in North Carolina, right? So for context, right?
Hey, big ups.
I have two moms.
We might be brothers and not even know.
So my mom, one of my moms, Frida. I guess I can name my mom's a podcast. Shout out to my moms. I love you. I love you, mama. I love you. So my mom, Frida, her family, is mostly from North Carolina, right? It's McDuffie side. McDuffie means son of the black one. And they've been there for a long time.
Sure.
I don't have archival records for that. I spent the last 2 or 3 years working on really like a poetry manuscript that's related to my familial ancestors.
Sure.
And so I've been looking literally through archives and bills of sale and ledgers, wills, things like that, just to kind of trace my ancestors.
Question.
Go ahead.
Where do you even start? I feel like being black in general, particularly being black in the Americas, that feels like an insurmountable task, to just.
Yeah.
So where do you start? Did you start with the DNA test and then go from there? Like how you go about that?
Well, I started with oral history. Which I think is something that many families have. And so I think for folks who want to get more information about their ancestors, or just their family in general, the first thing I would do if you have the opportunity to is ask some of the elders in your family, right? Just like what family stories do you have? Because there's a lot of insight and kind of gems in there. But I start with oral history, and a second cousin, maybe of my mom, who had done some research before, and then also names, right? So my other mom, Marcia, last name is Thurmond. A lot of our Thurmond ancestors were enslaved in Edgefield, South Carolina.
Oh, I see.
The insidious thing about a lot of these slave owners is that they wrote everything down, right? And so because I knew the names of certain people, I could look for them in these ledgers, bills of sale, wills, property records, and then later on census records. And so all of these things are publicly accessible. Like census records are in the public domain.
Sure.
And property records after a certain point I think are in the public domain as well. And a lot of these things I did also get access to through ancestry.com once I gave my DNA to the feds. So there's a lot there, but yeah, so my my family on both my mother's sides were really in the U.S. South, so North and South America. So North and South Carolina, I'm bugging.
Oh wait, I said
North and South Carolina. And then my sperm donor is Nigerian. He's Yoruba, and so there's that connection as well. My name is Yoruba as well, so actually the names that I have, Jumoke, McDuffie, Thurman, kind of speak to the regional locations that my ancestors are from.
That's dope.
Both Nigeria,
that's really cool.
And then North and South Carolina, and then in Europe we have my
Yeah.
blood relatives. You know what I'm saying? English descendant and what all that other shit that like
Sure.
is context, but they don't get no shine.
Yeah, you're not repping the
flag. Yeah. But I'm wondering, you were talking about that connection between Guyana and Brooklyn. I'm wondering how those two worlds kind of, or those two worlds and those two different contexts of blackness informed you growing up. Like, how did you think about your black identity growing up?
I mean, I thought the shit was lit. I didn't realize how unique the experience was until I left New York.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. That's the thing about New York that is so special. Of course, there's people from different Caribbean countries and South American countries and different pockets of the U.S., but particularly Black Caribbean people seem to, have migrated a great deal to New York. And I think that in and of itself is so important and so particular, just because the Caribbean has a myriad of different cultures, but at least in the U.S.'s national sphere, Caribbean culture is thought to be like Latinx culture or Jamaican culture. Those are like the two that people nationally understand. And even being in like Chicago and shit, when I'd be like, what's some Caribbean food? Niggas would be like, what you talk about, folk? Like, go get some jerk. And I'm like, yo, A, it's not cooked the same. And B, like, that's a Jamaican dish. Like, every island or Black Caribbean country, because Guyana's not an island, has its own version of curries and rotis and stews. Like, we all, it's kind of like, with dancehall or dub music, how shit just gets remixed. Like one country will make a song that's a hit, and then everybody got a fucking remix to it. That's kind of how it is with the food. And there's just different things. But I will say, particularly as it relates to New York, I just never felt out of place, just because you would always meet kids who, might have parents who. One parent who's from here, one parent who's from another country. You might have kids who have parents from two different Caribbean countries, but in terms of meeting people who are Caribbean in both Boston and Chicago, because the only two cities I've lived in so far, it's been few and far between, which is just interesting, because for me it shows what Black culture is in the U.S., but also it's shaped the way I see how a lot of people, even Black people, view Blackness as a monolith, just because we don't get to experience too much different cultures outside of maybe like going to a restaurant or going to travel for maybe a week or two. We don't actually get to like live with Black people who are coming from different spaces. I know for myself, I didn't have friends who had parents from the continent of Africa until I was like 13, 14. And I was just like, oh shit, like, that's how y'all get down. Like, I see the similarities, I see the differences, but I feel like being, half Caribbean and in a place where there's not that many Caribbean people, definitely informs my experience. Just because sometimes I'll see things differently, or people will hear I'm Caribbean, and then assume that I'm automatically homophobic or some shit, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you in terms of those stereotypes.
Yeah,
and I also think that you raise an important point. This idea that Blackness is monolithic.
No,
I think because we in many ways have a unified experience within a racialized caste system, right?
Sure.
We are all racialized as subhuman in a certain way, in a historical context and present day context in the United States. So there's a way in which, for example, when you see voting polls and Black people voting in large numbers predominantly for one one group, right? Predominantly Democrats. Be like, oh, well, all black people must think the same. It's like, well, no, our political realities are tied to the fact that we are racialized as black. So of course we're all gonna vote. You know what I'm saying? For the party that gives us the best chance of survival. Mm-hmm. And I think that something that I'm so grateful for in terms of my own childhood and upbringing, and really the intentionality of my parents, was that they really placed me in a range of they really exposed me to a range of black identities, right? And something I'm super grateful for was this almost like Pan-Africanist Saturday program that I went to called Ife Tayo, Ife Tayo Cultural Arts Center. Big up to anybody who went to Ife Tayo. So much love for them. But something that was really nice about it was the fact that it was black folks from all over. Some folks from the continent, some folks from the Caribbean, some folks from the U.S. Most people there had African names. And so there wasn't even necessarily like an anglicized context of blackness. And so I think from an early on, I connected blackness to being African, right? And grew up seeing myself both as black, but a black African, right? Yeah. And I think sometimes there's this distinction that folks in the U.S. make between being a black person, being an African person. And for me growing up, those were not necessarily synonyms, but I think, but connected, right? Everyone who is black is African, right? And so because of that, blackness was never, for me, just black American culture, but really thinking about like African and Afro-diasporic music from around the globe, right? And food from around the globe. And so where I was aware of the very specific, I guess like ethnic disposition, right, of being a black American, I was also connecting blackness to a global kind of Pan-African identity. And that's something I think has really informed both my politics, but also my self-perception. And I'm really grateful for that.
I'm interested in well, first I'll just get a little joke off. You said all black people are African, but brother Jumoke, you must remember we're all from Africa.
Shut up.
You gotta remember, it's the motherland for all of us. Just
Shut up.
How Selassie I. I'll stop fucking around. No, what you call it? I'm curious because you grew up with two parents who both, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, they both identify as Black American. But I'm sure even within that, there are differences on both sides of the family. I'm sure. Not, I'm sure that for both of your mother's upbringings, it wasn't exactly the same, and you're not running into exactly the same thing with your extended relatives, just because both sides of your family are Black American.
For sure, and I think, thinking about both my parents and their families, I think that my mom Marsha, her family is now more situated in the North and came to cities earlier. I think that, a lot of Frida's family, a lot of my mom Frida's family in the South is still in North Carolina, right? So I think there is a kind of country-city dynamic that's different between my family, between my two sides of my family. And that's something that really just plays out more so in terms of affect, right? How people talk, how people greet you, kind of expressions and gestures, things like that, sayings, and religion. I think the folks that are more still in the country environment are a lot more Christian, and so
I will say it depends. We can get into that, but yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm saying for my family specifically.
Oh shit, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah. No, for my family specifically. So that's where like iconography is comes into play too. So like you go in a house, you're gonna see a picture of Black Jesus, and kind of how that becomes like a familial image. Yeah. So I think those are where differences really come up: language, affect, Also proximity, right? I think I see Marsha's family more just because a lot of them are closer. Language, a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, I'm curious. Since you brought up language a couple times, like I think we definitely just have to get into it. If we're talking about Black people from different places and spaces, I mean, in just a pure U.S. context, there's a lot of different like colloquialism, slang, vernacular, whatever you want to call it, as well as different accents. And I mean, this is a big conversation to have, but I guess, we can just talk about what makes the Black cultures we've been involved with, like just those colloquialisms, just some of them that we can share that might mean the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, now I gotta think on my feet. I'm gonna pass the mic to you because I asked the question, so you got the hot seat.
Well, I'm curious, I'm curious if there are just common expressions or phrases that you've heard that were common in your household growing up or common around your family or communities. Because I know,
sure,
or even things that you don't necessarily know the origin for. For example, shit that I say like the devil is a lie. I don't quite know where the origin of that is, but it's like a common phrase. Oh, my mom said this. Honestly feels like some kind of more country black American shit, but my mom said something yesterday. She was like, shame the devil and tell the truth.
Oh, whoa. That's a bar. I like that one. Shame the devil and tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's fire. I like that a lot, actually.
I'm trying to think of, I don't know, were there other phrases?
I'm going to make an edit request. Could we just get the fucking mathematics meme on it? You're really trying to add it up? No. I definitely, while you're talking, I thought of, in New York, we say like OD a lot. Like, yo, niggas ODing, bro. And amongst like Caribbean people, you just be like, nah, they too enough. She too enough or whatever. Just like, like, yo, you do just like they doing the most type shit. So I know sometimes I'll just like if somebody's just doing some dumb shit, I'll just be yo, why she doing too enough, bro? Like she's just doing like you just doing too much. And niggas will be like, oh, what are you talking about? But I even think with that, with in Chicago, the version of is woo woo woo. Like, right?
That's wild to me. That sounds like an owl.
Yeah, nah. But it's crazy just like hearing all these different ways of saying shit. Like, cause like I know for me, like, I like out west, like just niggas might say like on the dead homies type shit. In Chicago, they'll say phone them, which is like for my homies type shit. Like I know growing up for me, I say yo on my mama, like yo, I swear on my mama, like I didn't steal that shit or whatever. And just even those three things basically saying or meaning the same thing. It's super interesting. Saying like tight in New York means like you piss me the fuck off.
Yeah.
But tight in other,
that's a rap.
Yeah, tight in other areas means like, oh nah, like that shit's tight. Like yo, like yeah, that shit's fire. Like
yeah.
Yeah, some black people. Yeah.
I was saying that's so interesting. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You got it.
I was saying that's so wild because as you're saying these phrases now, it's reminding me of this moment I had when I first went to college in Connecticut for my first year, and I realized how much of my language was Black New York vernacular.
Facts.
Literally saying facts, dead ass. B, you know what I'm saying? Like B as a general noun, like, oh, what's up, B? How you doing?
Yeah. It's G in Chicago.
heard you. Word. But just these very natural responses that people are like, what are you like dead ass? What are you talking about?
Yeah, can I get a year? Type shit. Like that shit is real. Like,
And even within boroughs, I mean, there's so much distinction as well.
Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, that's even interesting to see within New York itself, because like I know, and then I'll tie this into Chicago shit too. Like I know for myself, I always say like, nah, them Harlem niggas is different, bro. Like I fuck with them niggas, but them niggas is different. And then if you really going uptown, nah, them niggas is just crazy. It's clipped up there, bro. Like Bronx, to me, Bronx niggas are OD crazy. But then Bronx niggas would be like, nah, Brooklyn niggas just be OD aggressive and loud, bro. Them niggas want you to know they from Brooklyn. Y'all niggas don't shut the fuck up, bro.
That's true though. That's true though. Yeah. I do feel like every room I go and I announce that I'm from Brooklyn in some capacity.
Yeah, it's super true. And Queens niggas just feel disrespected because niggas don't talk about them enough. So Queens niggas would just be a little extra shifty type shit. Like, and for Chicago, I was literally talking to one of my good friends last night about this. Because, I was socially distantly hanging out with one of my friends and then, a mutual friend, like a friend of a friend. And my main friend, she's from the South Side, born and raised. And our mutual friend is from out west, right. Is what they call like the West Side, right. And just them two sides just be it's always the same shit. Like you say some shit about the South Side to a West Side nigga, they're like, nah, them South Side niggas is different. They just be doing da 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 da. And if you talk to a South Side nigga, they're like, nah, the West Side niggas is crazy, blah 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 blah. And it's just like, bro, like so even seeing shit like that where, like in New York, it's not so much sides to us, it's just like different pockets, but. Just to even see that kind of thing where it's like even in your own city and just seeing that happen in different cities and being like, them niggas is fucking wild. I remember when I was in Atlanta, I heard similar shit. I don't remember what was what now, but it was similar. I'm just niggas being like, yo, them niggas out in Bankhead. I'm like, bro, I don't know what the fuck.
I don't know what y'all talking about. in a similar but different way. That feeling of like, I don't know what y'all talking about. It's coming up for me nice in a nice playful way as I try to listen to more like music, media, visuals from Black folks outside of the US. So specifically in the UK, there's this show I put my brother onto. We're gonna shout out the chicken connoisseur. Big up the chicken connoisseur.
The Pengus, wait, are you talking about the Pengus Munch?
Yeah, the Pengus Munch.
Come on the podcast, bro.
The Pengus Munch. But yeah, he has this series where he essentially goes around reviewing different chicken shops. But again, there's so much like Black. I don't want to say British in general because I'm sure it's specific to different areas in in London and different neighborhoods, etc. But I don't know. Straight up. And so there is that kind of feeling of distance, but also the way someone's like, oh, it's peak, bruv, or it's piff, allow it. Yeah. Like, there's a way in which the cadence feels similar.
Chat and breeze, bruv. Chat and breeze.
Exactly, but there's a way that cadence feels similar, if the words sound different. And that's something for me that, again, kind of connects back to this feeling of Pan-Africanism, right? Where the words might be different. And obviously the location, context, etc. is different. But there's something about cadence, rhythm, awareness, and this kind of generosity with language that I feel like Black folks have. This real open expansiveness that I find in like any Black dialect.
We're even I think what's so dope right now is we're even starting to have. I know people call it a VE, but like I feel like we're starting to have certain like slang words where we like informally come to a consensus and we're like, yeah, this shit is for everybody. Like that's cap, you know what I'm saying? Give me the caps for sale, I'm fucking head type shit, you know what I'm saying? Like that's fucking cap. Lit, fuck. Ah, wow, I'm blanking right now. I think clipped is only a New York thing right now. Like, because I keep saying it and niggas keep being like, wait, it's what? And I'd be like, it's clip fan. Like, so I don't know about that. But definitely like cat, lit, wavy type shit.
I feel like that ass is entering the common lexicon.
Shit. They took it. I'm sad. That ass is there too, you're right. Those are the only four I can think of right now.
But it's interesting too, right? Because I think something I learned growing up from racist education was this idea that slang what came out of, and just like again like Black vernacular came out of like Fail's attempt to learn English well, right? Or this inability to kind of learn English, and so like folks let words like fucked up the grammar or whatever and spoke like incorrect English, right? This idea that Black vernacular is incorrect English. But I've been doing some reading recently And there's some recent studies that are coming out and seeing how the grammatical structure of Black vernacular and African American vernacular English is similar to certain West and Central African languages. And so it's not, and again, so I think there's this really racist internalized idea that our vernacular is improper English, but what it is actually, right, is taking a forced tongue and merging it with the kind of grammatical roots of a bunch of different languages that folks spoke before they got here. And I think that's also what kind of makes me think about this, like what I said before about this generosity in language, because the root is still connected to the source, right? And so if you're listening to someone speak Creole, someone speak, Jamaican patois, someone speak, East London slang. I don't know if niggas are East London, but wherever you go, right? I feel like the root is still there. The colonialism didn't destroy the root. And I just think that's something that's fascinating, and I really want to read more about it. So if anyone has any sources, any literature, please. Hit your boy up.
Yeah, I intrinsically know I'm not dumb, but I always take the approaches if I am, so I can learn. So please, you know what I'm saying? Give us some shit. Whether it be like the most basic of source or like the most prestigious, I'd like to see it all. Honestly.
Yeah, and I'll put there's a good Instagram post that I saw, but I also put the sources that I was reading in the chat.
Please do.
Find some PDFs or just links for y'all.
Please do. Whatchamacallit? I feel like we're wrapping up, but I do want to just talk about one more thing before we go. And it ties directly into language and just this idea of how we're tapping into, some old, ancient, powerful shit, the ancestors, whatever you want to call it. And that, for me, manifests best in music, like in Black music. And, for me, the statement, that I put in our notes, but I feel like it's super important. It's just that, like, in my mind, Black people don't make urban music. We've always made pop music. Like, we've always been the ones leading the charge in terms of like what's next, what's hot. And we'll move on from shit, and then I'll just say I'll graciously say other people will be inspired by it. That's my gracious statement for the day. I'm learning, I'm getting better, you know what I'm saying? Y'all see me, I don't even have no tequila today, so look, we're getting better, bro. We're getting better. But yeah,
meditating in the mornings. He got the crystals out. He got the crystals out.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness.
You know what I'm saying? We're out here. But no. Yeah, I definitely feel like music is a way in which this manifests. And I know people love to talk about the old historical example of like enslavement and like being on a plantation and how it was used for freedom tax and everything, but I specifically just want to talk about like recorded music, and just how there's so much diversity there, just in terms of Black people making recorded music over the past 100 years. There's just unrivaled, unmatched diversity there.
Yeah, and diversity, but also I think force, and I mean force. When the image that comes to mind when I'm thinking about force in this context is a wave, right? And when a wave hits the beach, you don't really see the origin point of it, right? But you feel that crash. You feel the kind of force of everything that's coming behind it kind of crashing onto the shore in that moment. And for those of you who've ever tried to jump a wave or run into a wave, that shit bust your ass down. and I think that it's a miraculous thing to be able to. I mean, unfortunately, it's a miraculous thing to, in the midst of a pandemic or in the midst of heightened state violence, right? Get out your headphones or your phone or your record player, whatever, and feel the force of Nina Simone crashing into you in this way that's empowering and emboldening. Feeling the force of a Peter Tosh or an Aretha Franklin, You know what I'm saying?
Force of the lyrical, or the force of the lyricism of Playboy Cardi. Look, man.
Just to feel like this, it took a long time.
Hey,
you know?
Hey, he's a feminist icon. He says it's okay if that pussy got some mileage, bro.
I can't with this.
Look, no, he is. You know how many misogynistic ass rap songs are out there? Like,
I can't.
If she just being like, if she fucks somebody, then like, I can't. Nah, you know what I'm saying? Feminist icon, we're taking.
I'm looping back to my point to say, I think one of the most incredible things about black music is that force and that durability. And that, I don't know how you qualify that. If you qualify that as soul, as sauce.
It's that sauce.
That blackness, that is something. Mm-hmm. It's this X factor that appears in all of our music across genres, across diasporas. You know what I'm saying? You listen to Fela, it's like that's giving you that same type of protest feel as well, not even protest feel. It's giving you that same courage and internal force to sustain you in a protest moment as the same way that a Marvin Gaye does in What's Going On, you know?
Exactly. That's what I was going to bring up too, is like Fela, because Fela's mostly like, I would say his heyday is like 60s, 70s. Am I right in that?
Mm-hmm. I think a little bit in the 80s too, with Africa 80, but
yeah. But so if we're talking like 60s and 70s, I'll particularly just talk about like the 70s. I mean, it's just interesting to see that different forms of music in terms of genres. So just stylistically, shit'll look different, but black people are talking about similar things. So if you go from Fela to Bob to Nina Simone to Marvin Gaye, like if you just jump around, like so you've got like classical, Afrobeat, you got jazz, you got reggae, you got funk, which comes up in the 70s and is fucking nuts. Disco comes up too, and like it's just interesting to see all the different ways black people have been able to come up with protest music and have like similar messages, but the beats are different. And that to me is like the craziest part of it all, is just that, because it wasn't like it is today where you could just hop on your phone and just be like, oh this nigga, oh these African niggas is going hard. I'm gonna make me an Afrobeat. Yeah. Like, you had to like actually go, or like the record had to be carried into your store type shit. So like the chances of when like Bob was a no name to like have heard Fela were probably like infinitesimal. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they both came with protest music is nuts. Like that to me is just the crazy part of it.
And we're innovating sounds, right? Like in each generation there's the innovation of sound, and it's exciting. It's super exciting. For those of you who are listening on the YouTube. On the YouTube.
Well, that would be watching.
Nah, drop a comment with a black musician who is showing that force today, or gives you that energy, that, or has that oomph, you know what I'm saying, that soul, that kick, that
or your favorite Playboy Cardi lyric.
But let's get a little music share, a little music network going, just so folks can maybe get put on to folks who they haven't necessarily heard before.
Yeah, matter of fact, I say we should make a pledge right now, because for our first episode, Pass the Aux, we failed y'all. We didn't give the playlist we said we would.
We didn't. Wow. I'm not gonna evoke the Naked Brothers band, but continue.
No. I was gonna say we should come up with the black ass playlist. And then I feel like we have to come to a decision, a consensus between the two of us as to which one song by a white artist that black people have taken as theirs, we will put at the end. So that is what we're going to give y'all.
Honorable mention?
We'll give one honorable mention. The one white person who's allowed to just bring like potato salad as the backup potato salad type shit.
You already know who that is, though. You already know who that is.
Who?
It has to be Bobby Womack. I'm bugging. Bobby, wow. I'm wild. Bobby Caldwell. I was wilding. Bobby Womack is black. Is actually black.
No, I know Bobby Womack.
I'm wilding. I'm talking about Bobby Caldwell. You must been wondering where I've been.
Oh, yeah. That, I know you mentioned UB40 or Red Wine before. The Pina Colada song is an option. Matter of fact, we should just have y'all vote. We'll have y'all vote on what the last song should be.
And you gotta throw I chimed in with the haven't you people ever heard of?
Closing the goddamn door. Yeah. All right. Sweet. Those are our 4 options. I don't remember what they are now, but we'll run back to tape it. We'll have it for y'all to vote. We will actually do it this time because we definitely did let y'all down. For that, I apologize.
Precisely.
But no, we might as well get to shout outs and get out of here, right?
Exactly. Jacob, where can the people find you?
As always, motherfuckers, you can find me on the block, you know what I'm saying? I be out here, bro. I just be standing out there because ain't nowhere to go, bro.
Meet me at the club. We're going down.
Meet me at the park. Stay 6 feet apart.
Bars.
Yeah. No, but you can find me anywhere, YUNGSAVOYE. You can find me at housesboy.com as well. That's my alias. In terms of shout outs this week, as always, shout outs to scammers, but I don't got no social for y'all this week. It's on pause because I have to give a shout out to truly the only people that matter right now, and that is to all the Black people who don't identify as cishet men. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Black women, shout out to Black queer folks, shout out to everybody in the spectrum that does not identify as a Black cishet male body.
Give Black folks love. Give Black folks love.
Yeah, shout out to y'all because y'all shouldn't just get praise in this moment. You know what I'm saying? We love y'all. We respect y'all. We're going to try to be there for y'all as much as we can. And we just appreciate everything y'all doing from, making your voice known, when Black cishet men have historically failed you, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to say shout outs. That's all I got. Yeah, I'll come up with some dumb shit probably after you give yours, but that's all I got. What you got?
No, I mean, for those of you who I was going to say slide into my DMs, but that's not even the energy we trying to evoke on this calm night. That's not the energy we trying to evoke. If y'all want to tap in with me, Jumoke Akil, JUMOKE AKIL. You know what I'm saying? We got the links everywhere at this point. So if you want me, you can find me.
Exactly.
I'm even shout out to my mamas. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Mama Marsha, Mama Frida. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Much love.
Yeah, I love my mamas. Yeah, that's it. That's
all y'all get for free. You know what I'm saying? If you want more, we'll put the Venmo link right there. You know what I'm saying? Bye. Good shit, yo.